Awesome. Well, thank you. Okay, so for one more time today. So we're FanSync. We're an artist-centric fan engagement platform, empowering artists to collect, analyze, and take full control of their fan data. Now, we're using the superfan as a metric for success. And today in this industry, the internet is the main stage for artists. That's where you find artists. That's where you find their music. But we believe that social media and streaming numbers don't tell the whole story. Online engagement is important. Going viral is important, but it can also be misleading when assessing real growth. So why don't we cut through the noise? Why don't we go straight to the fan? Community is currency in this day and age, and real power comes from a strong community of fans. And artists are going to get the most value when their fans are deeply engaged with them. But their issue is kind of like residing in tracking fan engagement to create strategies to help artists grow. Um, so this is where FanSync comes in. Like I said before, FanSync is an artist-centric fan engagement service focused on empowering artists to collect, analyze, and own their data. Artists are able to track data of their fan base to determine the best way to optimize their growth as an artist. And in return, fans will gain access to pre-sale tickets, track IDs, stamps, merch, other exclusive perks. So what makes FanSync different? Well, we decided we were kind of like assessing what the superfan was or what the superfan is and where they reside online. Superfan behavior might look like a combination of actions, right? It might look like purchasing merch right after a concert. It looks like adding a new song, but not just adding the new song, but then sharing that song to your own social media and adding it to your own playlist to listen to it back and back again. And what we're doing with FanSync is we're saying that we want direct access to the fans' listening habits, right? And that way we're able to classify where an artist falls in a fan's like listening habits when they fall into their music library. So this is just like an overall diagram of like how this application would work. Fans will be onboarded into this platform with their credentials from their streaming services, so we can get access to their listening habits, so we can get access to their music libraries, playlists, etc. And we're gonna have the third-party APIs from like Songkick and Ticketmaster, Dice FM to get event and ticket sales. We're looking at Illuminate and Chartmetric to get social and streaming data analysis. And we're also looking at Audience and Laylow for Fanbase Insight, Bandcamp, Shopify for merch sales. And we want to be able to like add some level of granularity so that artists are able to know the top % of the fans that are listening to them, but also the ones that are purchasing their tickets, the ones that are buying their merch, and then focus directly on sharing, sharing data or sharing information, sharing promotions, sharing content directly to their core group of fans. So, and here's a case study that we kind of worked on.
Yes, so just to kind of represent the impact of superfans, we have two different independent artists, both unsigned. For artist A, they've been slowly cultivating a consistent, sustainable, and dedicated fan base for several years. You could say they have a solid foundation of superfans. Artist B, for instance, though, went viral on social media one time. They got a lot of streams from this one time of going viral, but they don't necessarily have a consistent and dedicated foundation of superfans to sustain their career. So I created this chart. We have our Spotify monthly listeners over the past 2 years. Artist A, the one with more of a superfan base, as you can see, it's pretty consistent over the past 2 years. They have some spikes here and there, but overall it's pretty consistent. Artist B, you can see exactly where they went viral in the end of 2022, but then their listeners start to go on a downward trend. And as we continue, it's going to continue to go downward just based off of where the trend's going. They don't have a consistent fan base of super fans. And you can also see how it affects their product sales over the past year. So artist A, this is kind of like their merch sales. It's pretty consistent. I mean, it goes up and down here and there, but it's pretty consistent. And that just goes to show, like, when you have super fans, they're going to buy your merch. Artist B, they might have gotten a lot of streams on Spotify, but they don't nearly have as much merch sales as Artist A. it does. So because they don't have as much super fans. So that's the difference there. And yeah, I guess that wraps it up for us. This is our team. We had so much fun doing this project. Thank you guys so much for watching our presentation, and thank you so much for the thank you so much to the judges. I really appreciate it. This was so much fun.
Great job, guys. Thank you so much. Judges, now the floor is open for you guys to ask questions. You can raise your hand or just unmute yourself and start asking. John, go ahead.
Hey, yeah, great presentation. I'm interested in, you kind of mentioned the two case studies, and I think it's an interesting thing to think about in terms of how you capitalize on virality instead of talking about virality not being the right path. So I'm interested to see or hear from you all in terms of your platform. Is this a place where artists are meant to come and organically grow fandom? Or is this a place where they can take already existing fandom like they have on their social media platforms and bring it into the ecosystem? Which do you see being the more direct route for success with FanSync?
Well, we're looking at basically onboarding their existing fans. That's why we're kind of like asking the fans to opt into the service by giving direct access to their Spotify's or their Apple Music, because that's data that we could reference to say, like, this is a fan that listens to, basically you can know if you're in the top % of a fan's like library before Spotify Wrapped comes out at the end of the year. And that could mean a lot more for like strategies coming out to, further promote that artist.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Leticia, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Hi, really great presentation. I did have a question just around, because you'll be using a lot of third-party systems, and APIs to get the data. What's to stop a direct first-party one like Spotify or Apple from just utilizing the data since they already have it from building this? So how the competitive landscape?
That's a really good question. And that was kind of part of the issues where we're kind of facing when talking about this idea, right? Because we believe that fans exist on so many different platforms. They're interacting with artists on so many different platforms, on the Spotify's, on the TikToks, on the Twitters, and like all over the place. And that data, I would argue, also belongs to the artist. And that's kind of where that's why we're focusing on letting this be an artist-centric experience, right? Because we want the artists to get the most out of that data, not just necessarily going on Spotify Wrapped, or you see how many streams you're doing, but really like say you can now point to where your fans are, you can point to who they are, and it's not just a random like bloated number.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I wanted to add on to that, and I think what we're trying to do is that we are utilizing data that from all of these like other sources like Spotify and all the other platforms for artists. But with our platform, as the artist begins engaging with their fans on our platform, they're able to create their new data, and just sort of like track that data using our platform. So in a way, we're kind of like using third-party APIs and data for sure to initially get that head start into then like promoting more engagement for artists to then have for their fans. So yeah.
Fantastic. And I appreciate the enthusiasm for the judges, but we are out of time for this team. So
hey, we're open to answer any more questions offline, by the way. So